What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Master Pain video. Today we got a big one. We got the big 1v1 tournament that's putting all the backyard kids against each other to see who the best player in the game is as of today. But before we get into that, I want to thank every single one of you who has subscribed to the channel and made Master Pain's big backyard as big as it is so fast. So thank you so much for following along on the videos and hitting that subscribe button. And to thank you guys, I'm going to be giving away 2 copies of Backyard Baseball on Steam. In order to win the game, you need to leave a comment below and make sure that you are subscribed. Drop a comment, say who you think is going to win the tournament. Tell me if you think the winner was validated and should have won, or if you think someone got snubbed, let me know too. So leave a comment below, make sure you're subscribed, and I will randomly select 2 people to win Backyard Baseball. For those of you waiting for the game to come out on console, don't worry, hit that subscribe button. When we get there later this summer, I will be giving away console versions as well. So hit that subscribe button. You have nothing to lose. It's a free game if you can win. So good luck to everyone who enters. Thank you again for subscribing, and we'll see you at the end of the tournament. See who wins. Before we get into the actual games, let's just go over some logistics. So on bigbackyard.net, which is our community-run website, we have the overall ratings for each of the kids. Now, we gave each of the backyard kids an overall rating, and based on the rating, they were seeded in the tournament. So we added them to the big bracket. There are 33 kids in the tournament. That means we are going to be having a play-in game between the 2 lowest kids, Ricky Johnson and Kimmy Ekman. So with that, let's get right into Kimmy versus Ricky to get this tournament kicked off. Okay, Ricky versus Kimmy. Kimmy went 1-2-3 in the top of the first inning, and in his second at-bat of the game, Ricky hits a walk-off home run, getting him out of the play-in and into the tournament against Pablo Sanchez. Our next game had the 16 seed Ashley Weber play the 17 seed Ronnie Dobbs, and Ashley smacks a 3-run home run to send Ronnie home after Ronnie went 0 for 3. Billie Jean versus Ronnie's older sister Sally, and after Billie Jean went 0 for 3, Sally Dobbs, in their first at-bat of the game, smacks a home run over the center field fence. Sally Dobbs moving on. Sunny Day, the voice of Backyard Baseball, versus Vicky Kawaguchi. Vicky goes 0 for 3 to start the game, and Sunny Day makes her pay with a walk-off home run in the bottom of the first, taking the game 1-0. Sunny Day moving on to play Sally Dobbs. Next, we have our play-in tournament hero, Ricky Johnson, playing the number 1 overall seed Pablo Sanchez. And Pablo, after getting a guy on first base, hits a 2-run home run to end the game. Pablo moving on. Now let's jump to the top right corner of the bracket and watch the number 2 overall seed Mr. Clanky play Jorge Garcia. On the very first pitch of the bottom of the first inning, Mr. Clanky goes yard and sends Jorge home. Money can't buy you a tournament, buddy. Next, we got Vinny the Gooch versus Sydney Weber, and after Vinny gets a runner on second base, he slaps him down the right field line and wins the game on a walk-off single. Vinny moving on. Ernie versus Gretchen, and there was no laughing in this one. Ernie was all down to business. After taking care of Gretchen in the top of the first inning, Ernie goes yard on the very first pitch he sees, sending Gretchen home and Ernie on. Amir versus Angela was a similar story. Angela went 0 for 3 in the top of the first, and then Amir sent her home with a walk-off bomb. Amir is dancing his way into the Sweet 16. To the bottom left corner of the bracket we go, and we start with Keisha versus Reese. Keisha held Reese to 0 runs in the first inning, and Keisha, after getting out on the first batter, hits a home run to walk off Reese. Keisha moving on to the Sweet 16. Next, we get a matchup nearly 30 years in the making, Jocinda versus Stephanie Morgan, and Stephanie Morgan ends Jocinda's tournament dreams by hitting a 2-run walk-off home run in the bottom of the first inning. We thought that matchup was good. In the next round, we got Stephanie versus Keisha. Hold on to your hats, folks. Here we go. Dante took care of Maria pretty easily. In the bottom of the first inning, he hit a gapper to send Maria home. Dante moving on. Then, in what is the best game of the tournament so far, we have Mikey Thomas versus Lisa Crockett, and Mikey Thomas with 2 strikes and 2 outs in the top of the first hits a 2-run home run to take a 2-0 lead over Lisa. Then, in the bottom of the first inning, Lisa hits a leadoff home run to get the inning going and to chip away at the lead by 1 run. Then, she hits another one on the next pitch. Lisa ties the game at 2. Could she do it a 3rd time in a row? We will see. The next batter that comes up to the plate, Lisa Crockett hits a walk-off back-to-back-to-back home runs, sending Mikey Thomas home sick in a heartbreaking loss in the opening round. To the bottom right of the bracket we go, and we have the battle of the redheads, Pete versus Dimitri, and after Pete gets 3 guys on, he smacks a line drive home run right out of the park to beat Dimitri. Pete moves on. Next, we had a little country versus a little rock and roll, and rock and roll got the best of country, hitting a walk-off 2-run shot after Marky didn't do anything in the top of the first. Ahmed Khan moving on to the Sweet 16. Next, we had Luann versus Annie, and Annie threw an absolute meatball on the bottom of the first inning on the first pitch, and Luann took advantage, sending it over the home run wall, and Luann Louis moves on to the Sweet 16. And in our final game of the round of 32, we have Kenny versus Tony, and Kenny, after getting a man on first base, hits a home run and wins the game 2-0. Kenny moving on and is the last person in our Sweet 16. All right, so the Sweet 16 is set, so let's get back to the stadium, and night has fallen, but that doesn't change anything for Pablo after he hits in the runner on second base in the bottom of the first inning, sending Ashley Weber home. Pablo into the Elite Eight and making it look easy while doing it. Next, we got Sally Dawes versus Sunny Day, and after Sally shuts Sunny down in the top of the first inning, Sally hits a 3-run home run to send Sunny home. Sally Dobbs moving on. Then in the highly anticipated matchup, Keisha Phillips gets Stephanie Morgan to ground out to end the top of the first, and then in the very next inning, the bottom of the first inning, Keisha hits a 2-run home run to send Stephanie Morgan home. Keisha Phillips, the number 4 overall seed, moving on to the Elite Eight. Can Lisa's magic run continue? No, it can't. Dante hits a 3-run home run in the bottom of the first, and Lisa Crockett's tournament ends. Dante Phillips eating his way into the Elite Eight. Let's go. Mr. Clanky versus Vinny the Gooch, and Mr. Clanky took no prisoners, hitting a 3-run home run in the bottom of the first inning, sending Vinny the Gooch back to the booth. Mr. Clanky moving on to the Elite Eight. Another fun battle. We got Ernie versus Amir, and Amir loads the bases early and slaps in a run, taking a 1-0 lead into the bottom of the first inning, but after getting runners on the corners, Ernie Steele, a 3-run home run, sends Ernie into the next round, and he is laughing his way into the Elite Eight. Pete Wheeler versus Ahmed Khan, and Pete Wheeler hits another walk-off 3-run home run to take the win and to send himself into the Elite Eight. Pete Wheeler, 6 runs in 2 games. That's the most out of any player so far in this tournament. And in our final game of the Sweet 16, we have an absolute pitching battle. Who will win? Luann Louis gets the better of Kenny Kawaguchi and moves on into the Elite Eight. After all of that, our Elite Eight is set. We are going to be moving into the Big City Stadium, and Keisha Phillips and Dante Robinson will get us started. Here comes the pitch, and in the top of the first inning, Dante Robinson gets 2 men on until he grounds out to the second baseman. Keisha Phillips will make him pay with a home run on the first pitch of the bottom of the first, sending Dante home, and Keisha's dancing into the final 4. Mr. Clanky is the second-ranked player overall. Can Ernie Steele take him out in the bottom of the first on the first pitch? Mr. Clanky hits a home run and goes on to the final 4. In the battle of the speedsters, Pete Wheeler versus Luann Louis, Pete Wheeler steps up to the plate and hits a home run in the bottom of the first inning on the first pitch, sending him into the final 4 to face off against Mr. Clanky. And in our last matchup of the Elite Eight, will the number 1 overall seed, Pablo Sanchez, take control and beat Sally Dobbs? The answer is yes. Pablo Sanchez hits a walk-off home run in the bottom of the first inning to get into the final 4 to take on Keisha Phillips. All right, we're in the final 4, and with that, we enter the Super Colossal Megadome. Pablo and Keisha get us started in the final 4, and after Pablo shuts Keisha down in the top, Pablo hits a walk-off home run, and the GOAT is on his way to the championship game. In a game like we haven't seen since Lisa versus Mikey, Pete Wheeler versus Mr. Clanky was an all-time classic. Pete gets off to a great start in the top of the first inning with a 1-out home run, and then he follows it up with another one to take a 2-0 lead into the bottom of the first inning. Pete then takes the mound and gets 2 quick outs on Mr. Clanky, having him ground out to right field and grounding out to second base. And just when all hope felt lost, the number 2 overall seed hits a line drive home run to center field to chip away at the lead. But is it too little too late? No! Mr. Clanky beats out the throw from right field and keeps the inning going. He then slaps a hit down the right field line and gets 2 runners on base. With 2 runners on, Mr. Clanky hits one to the gap in right field and sends the runner home to tie the game at 2. It is now 2-2 with runners on the corner, 2 outs. Mr. Clanky gets another hit and scores the winning run, taking the lead 3-2 and taking the game and sending Mr. Clanky to the championship. All right, we made it to the very last game, the championship game between Pablo and Mr. Clanky. The GOAT versus the robot. Who will take it? Who will be the best player in backyard baseball in this 1v1 tournament? Mr. Clanky starts off hot, getting on base with a single. He then pops up to the third baseman, and Pablo is starting to look like he could get out of this. Clanky then hits into a fielder's choice, hitting it to center field, but then goes yard, hitting a home run and taking a 2-0 lead in the championship game into the bottom of the first. To the bottom of the first we go, and Pablo hits a single. He follows it up with another slap single to left field. Can the GOAT do it with 2 runners on, nobody out? Pablo hits the hanging left hook out of the park and into the grandstands, winning the championship and winning the entire tournament. The GOAT, here's a replay real quick. Boom, right to center field. Pablo Sanchez takes it all and takes the glory. Pablo beating Mr. Clanky by a score of 3-2 and is your 1v1 tournament champion. So that's how the tournament wraps up. Pablo Sanchez wins the whole thing. Were you surprised? Was there anything in the tournament that shocked you? I thought Luann had a good run. I didn't expect that out of her. We saw some awesome matchups in there as well. I love the Keisha versus Stephanie. I love the Sally versus Sunny matchup early on. It was a fun tournament. I loved it. I know that the 1 inning thing is kind of a little bit, we might need to adjust that in a future tournament, maybe give players a little bit more of a chance to come back. A lot of 1-0 games, which is just unfortunate, but it's the way it is. You got to score a run in the top of the inning. You got to be better than your opponent. So yeah, thank you again for watching. Maybe next time we'll run it back with MLB pros and other DLC characters. We should put them up against Pablo to see if anyone can take him down. Hit the subscribe button. Maybe you'll make a video on that. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Appreciate you guys so much. We'll see you in the next one. See ya.